I'm here with Lisa Grasso, the president of the Chelmsford Historical Society. So we're here on Arbor Day in 2025. We just planted this beautiful elm tree. What's it called? A Princeton elm?
It's a Princeton elm.
Princeton elm, which isn't subject to the rot that the previous elm trees in Chelmsford died from. So hopefully this one will last 200 or 300 or more years, and it'll be huge in a few years. So Lisa, what do you think about today and the planting?
The planting was more than I expected. I think knowing that this many people came just because of a little idea, it was a thought. We had to take some trees down here, and I am a tree person. I love trees, and it also kind of correlated or corresponded with the 19th of April, 250 years ago. The whole revolution started. So why not commemorate the revolution by planting a tree so that 100 years from now, somebody's going to come here and be like, this was planted 100 years ago because 350 years ago, we started the American Revolution.
Could you imagine that? This is true. This is a historical day, and 100 years from now, 200 years from now, hopefully, people from Chelmsford and surrounding communities could come here and recognize what we did on this day and what the Patriots did on April 19th, 1775, to help begin the revolution, to help us get our independence from Great Britain and become the great country that we have become.
Exactly.
And Lisa, you've been the president for how long now of the Historical Society?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. And how do you like it so far?
It's been so amazing getting to know more people in town and then bringing history into our future, which is what I really want to do, because that's what we're all about. We need to remember our history, bring it to become part of our future, learn from it, and grow.
Yes.
And that is the whole point of a tree.
And did you study a lot of history
I
in
did.
college? And I study history, notwithstanding college. I mean, I did in college, but much more now. Every day I study history by watching YouTube videos of brilliant historians. Mm-hmm. We're so lucky that we could have this educational facility in everybody's home now. And I love watching these videos about the history, and especially some brilliant people I love listening to. Like Victor Davis Hanson is one of them.
Yeah.
But,
There's so much history here, right here. We're lucky that we grew up here, or at least I did. Didn't grow up here in Chelmsford, but I grew up in Somerville. And we were exposed to this all the time, where every field trip we went to a historical something. We went to Lexington and Concord. We went to the bridge, where the shot hurled around the world, etc. We wanted to bring that to everybody and keep it live, keep it good. And the internet has been amazing with that. Like now my daughter can just be like, okay, Concord, Massachusetts. Then share it with your friends in California who've never been here, etc. But that's the whole concept that I have right now with history. Because yeah, I did study it. I was curious. I wanted to know more. And when I was a student at Tufts, I had a professor, I was learning about, believe it or not, the African American influence in sports. And that opened huge doors for me about the history of everything. And it just became more of an obsession. And so I went to the library and I would look things up in the library and find microfiche. But now, go on the internet and look at the number 42 and why it was retired in every ball field for baseball, and Jackie Robinson. So I would start doing things like that, and now how much easier it is to do it. But I want it to keep happening, and that's my vision for our society.
And our society is going well, right? How old is it? I think, when did we start? 1930 maybe,
1930.
something like that? So almost 100 years, in about 5 years we'll have our 100th anniversary.
Yep. And that was also part of why we started this thought. We wanted to do something to commemorate our stuff.
Yeah.
The Garden Club has already done their 100th anniversary. That was about 2 years ago, but that was part of this too, where we could kind of commemorate this, plus the 250th here, and then let it grow into other parts. So next year, with our 250th birthday of the United States of America, we were going to bring in a flag too.
Oh,
So
really?
this will grow.
Are we going to put a new flagpole in? Mm-hmm. Where's that going to be? Do you know, Lisa?
Well,
we
first talked about being over here, but it has brought more focus to bring it closer to the house, to our homestead. It should be closer to the house. So we're talking about a location for that now,
Nice.
where we would have an official flag over there and maybe a colonial flag over here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for helping organize today, coming up with the idea for the tree planting, for being president of the Chelmsford Historical Society, and for doing such a great job with all of that. Thank you, Lisa Grasso.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for everything you do.
Okay, this is a Town of Chelmsford proclamation in celebration of Arbor Day, April 25th, 2025. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and beautify our community. And whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, now therefore, we the Chelmsford Select Board do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the town of Chelmsford and urge all its residents to protect our trees and woodland and to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations and to take part in programs to celebrate Arbor Day. Presented this 25th day of April 2025, signed by the Select Board and the Town Clerk. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now I'd like to introduce Lisa Grasso. She's president of the Historical Society, and she has a few words to say.
Just a couple. Because about 250 years ago, on April 19th, several people left this town to go all the way down to Concord and to start the American Revolution. That is in part why I wanted to do this tree planting, to celebrate these families, our town's families, and someplace for us to come to in the future to really take a look at this and just commemorate that time. I want to thank our friends with the Garden Club. I want to thank our friends with the town. Thank you for coming, and let it start. It's about 250 years since the start of the American Revolution.
Very good. Thank you, Lisa. So I just want to talk about the tree, the Princeton elm that's been planted. It is a medium to large deciduous tree that grows to be 60 to 80 feet tall. So you can imagine and it's fast growing. Often called the American elm, it is a Princeton elm. The tree features a vase-shaped, broad, rounded crown. In the spring, it will have small green flowers appear on all of its branches and leaves will emerge. Eventually, wafer-like samaras replace those flowers. The Princeton elm is a true American elm that is native to Central and Eastern North America. It is highly resistant to Dutch elm disease, which we have taken down more than a share of elms in this town, and tolerates urban conditions well. So it should do well. We're very thankful for it being donated by David, George.
Oh, hey, friend.
Yeah. And we're very grateful to the DPW who also helped us plant it and brought the mulch and is making sure it's doing well and even watered it today. Now we just do our shovel opportunity to mulch around the base and get some pictures, and then we welcome you to have lemonade and cookies, and there's many cookies, so please take some home. And we also have a poem courtesy of Monica Kent. Thank you very much.
Well, here we all are again, and isn't this nice? We do it every year, and it's a wonderful tradition. And as part of the tradition, Kate gave me 2 poems and offered that I could have my choice. And so since it stopped raining, and the poems are short, you can hear 2. But the first one is one that you have to have. And it happens to be my favorite, and I hope that the teachers are all making the 5th graders memorize it again. This is, of course, Joyce Kilmer's Trees. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast,
A tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray. A tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. And Joyce Kilmer was a young man when he wrote that. He was in World War I, and the day after he was killed in battle. And so the second tree, the second poem, will make you all smile. Nature looked across the seas. She had, excuse me, I didn't tell you. It's the first tree by Leonore Hector. Nature looked across the seas she had newly made. Now, said nature, life must have a place of cooling shade. All my creatures shall have rest from the sun's high tide. Underneath a leafy bough shall my creatures hide. So out from the deep black earth rose a mighty tree. The hill winds sang a song of welcome. Greetings, roared the sea. When the sun had reached its zenith, in the tree's cool shade, all the creatures lay them down, and they were not afraid. Ever since the tree has flourished, mighty and yet kind, nowhere else can beast or man sweeter solace find. And that's our tree.
Okay, so now we'll just take a shovel and mulch the tree.
Let's mulch the tree.
Thank you. Like, put the proclamation. Yep.
I mulch all the time. I like to mulch.
Would you like to come and take a shovel?
Pat. Yeah, Pat.
There's plenty there for all.
How about Dave? He's donated
The whole barrel, actually.
We'll let Pat get it good. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Shall I? Shall I?
Thank you.
All right. I'll make it official with a shovel.
Thank you.
I like it.
We'll put your name on it.
Pitchfork might be a little too dangerous.
Oh, he's doing it right.
Cover that with your
Impressive, Dave, impressive.
right? Technique is where it's at. For you.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Getting a picture of everybody.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Susan.
Are they really? We had one in the backyard.
Anybody else would like to?
No, I think it would need a lot, but here, girls and stuff. Come on, guys. Come on, we need the guys on. Oh, yes. All the ladies are up there. All right. Nice. Oh, good. Our heroes. Yeah.
Nice job. You're not going to put that in real neat.
Yeah, he's yielded. Yeah. I'm not sure. I can't remember. You'd have to hear. But, yeah. Well, that makes me feel good. Yes, I do. Oh, I already. Oh, do you live in your? Oh, nice. Yeah, they before the end. Yes. Oh, yes. I drive by and I always say, hi, Skipper. Got it. That's good. Yeah, right.
Very impressive. beautiful poem.
Thank you for picking them out.
I want to know the first one.
Hey, John. My very favorite.
Because I have to have that story still.
That is.
I will get
Memorize it.
You're right. Come on. Good. Thank you. But you know, it doesn't. You're exactly right. It's a nice mountain.
Find out what's from the town or anything.
Yeah, right.
Anybody else that would like to talk about
What am I tossing? Where am I tossing?
right into the tree?
Perfect. Good. Thank you. Narrative. Come on. Please.
I missed the proclamation.
When you walk, when you drive by. Yeah, that's true. Part of it. Insert location.
Well, that's amazing.
See if anybody else thinks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Would anybody else like to?
Anybody else?
Oh, good. A double. Go for it. Oh, because there's still more to go. Yes. I've seen it. So does that make it more? Hey, there you go. That's how it works. They avoid sitting in the field close to every year I'm like, all right, I'll get it burned on special permission. Well, we're historical, so we'll be okay. I'm pretty sure we say okay.
I think it's a distribution that is going to
Yeah, they better get us while we're still here. I don't know. And make sure that I define the other. So they can go. So when those were set up years and years and years. Well, I love watching it go.
Our long tradition of taking each other's pictures
Yes,
for
yes.
decades, many decades.
I've got a
Yeah.
quick interview. The camera's going to.
Oh,
So, what do you think about this Arbor Day planting today, Fred?
I think it's great, Tom. This is actually a Liberty tree. Lisa didn't mention that, but it's actually the same as the Liberty tree that used to be on Boston Common before the Revolution, and the colonials apparently were playing tricks with the tree, hanging things on the tree like tea bags and things like that. So eventually the royals got tired of that and cut it down.
Really?
But this is the same type of tree that was the Liberty tree in Boston Common. So
When did
I
they
thought that
cut
was
it
a pretty
down?
neat
Do you know what
story.
year they cut it down? About?
I imagine it was probably around 1774
Yeah,
or 5, somewhere when they got irritated with the colonials.
And when the revolution started, right, April 19th, 1775, kind of in full, with the shot heard around the world.
And then we booted them out. They boarded their ships and took off.
But then we had a revolution for a number of years, right?
We had a battle. We had a war to fight.
What was it,
right?
about 8 years or something we were
yeah,
fighting?
about that.
And so do you know the type of tree again this is, Fred?
It's a Princeton elm.
A Princeton elm.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it, it's not subject to the Dutch elm disease that took out all the stately old elms that were all over Chelmsford and every other town.
It's not susceptible to that? That's fantastic.
And I don't know if you would, I'm not sure if you were there, but last year they planted one at Roberts Field.
Oh,
the same
I
type.
guess I wasn't there.
Yeah, they
that
actually
day.
planted a couple of trees that day, but the garden club, so the same crew was there, Paul and Pat and John and the garden club were all present for the planting at Roberts Field last year.
Nice.
So it's a yearly tradition that goes on, but this is our year here,
Wonderful.
where we wanted to celebrate the 250th. That's why we're here today.
Yes, 250th anniversary from April 19th, 1775, when the battle started in Lexington and Concord, right, Fred?
Right.
And also Arlington, too, which isn't noted as much, but those are big battles. And all the way
Menotomy.
back to Boston,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Menotomy was the name of Arlington.
At that time, yes.
Nobody can remember that.
Well, that's why I say Arlington. Yeah, and then they were fighting the British all the way back to Boston. The Minutemen basically won that. They killed more.
Now, don't forget that after they left Concord, okay, they had turned the corner at Merriam's Corner, where the Merriam house is, and they were being chased. And they took quite a few pot shots there at Merriam's Corner, because there was a hill on the other side from the house, and the colonials were up there on the hill taking shots at them. And so they had the celebrations in Concord last weekend, but the weekend before they had the Merriam family reunion, and we had our luncheon. We got rained out, by the way, for the parade. We got rained out, but we stay at the Major John Buttrick house, and he, as I understand it, was the guy that ordered the first shot heard around the world at the Concord Bridge.
I really.
His house is still there. It's part of the national park.
In what town? What town is that?
In Concord. It's
Oh,
right.
in
It's actually right near the Concord River as it goes through. So it's on this side of Concord Center and the Colonial Inn and all that. But it's not too far off the river, and it's a beautiful estate. And
Nice.
it's part
still
of the
there.
national park. Yeah, the house
Wonderful.
is it's well kept by the National Park Service and everything.
Wonderful.
So we had we provide our own food. We all make reservations ahead, and so we had 2 rooms just packed full of Merriams from all over the country, and some different names because it was through the mother's line of the family.
Yeah, because that's your last name, right, Fred? So it's your family.
It's our family from all over the country. We all evolved from the Merriam, William Merriam, who came over from England, 1600s. And so there's actually a very good book, which I have. So I go back 9 generations before it gets related to anybody else, because there's a one male in each generation for all those generations, actually 9 generations. We have a son. He has 1 child who's a boy. He's Chinese American, but he'll have the name Merriam. And he's the last one in my line of 9 generations. So I think going back 7, I think the closest cousin I could have is something like 5th.
Nice. Wonderful, Fred.
So, and what was funny, at the reunion, there was a Merriam there by the name of April, and apparently she never married, but when I was a little kid in Cambridge, my father was at Harvard University, and we lived in student housing, married student housing, and I knew April Merriam because they lived there in that same complex.
Wow.
Yeah. So she showed up at the reunions. I was amazed, because
Were
I
you
had
in
no idea
Concord?
where she was all this time.
On April 19th, there was a big celebration in Concord about
Yes.
Patriots Day.
Yeah.
I was there photographing,
Yeah.
and
Well, they have the celebration the week before, and the town of Concord has a big event. They have speakers, and we have a parade, but that's because it's only part of the route. Okay, when you get into the big Concord celebration, then they have way stations like Dina and Bob were at Hartwell Tavern doing reenacting. So we're just one small piece of it, but it gives us an opportunity. It gives the town of Concord an opportunity to have a smaller celebration that's not so big, you know. But Merriam's Corner is very famous, and it too is part of the National Park Service.
wonderful.
And
That's fantastic.
Just as an aside, the lady one of the docents for the national park is a good friend of ours now, and she actually is Carol's vice president on the garden club.
Oh, really?
She lives in Tewksbury, Tingsboro, and so she's become a good friend.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Fred, how about if I'm gonna, we'll get a shot of me with the mulch, okay?
Sure.
I don't know if you want to get back of the camera here, but I got it. Well, let me move it back a little bit.
Make sure it's on.
Yeah, the camera's on. Okay, and then I'm gonna set a self timer like this. Oh, did you get that, Brent?
You're on there.
Oh, I am? I got it?
Yep.